dear Bagginses and Boffins.
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking about the Rings of Power Season 2. And for this video, we thought we would do kind of a little rundown of all of our main storylines that we've been building up through the past 8 episodes and where they might be going in Season 2. And so I'll start off with one that kind of prompted this discussion, which is the confrontation, the looming confrontation between Adar and Sauron. As everyone sort of remembers, at the very end, Halbrand / Sauron leaves the elves, makes his way all the way to Mount Doom. And what we know was happening there is that Adar was the one who set off the volcano in hopes to make a land where the orcs could live, without being afraid of the sun and kind of being free from being hunted or their enslavement to Sauron. And while we know the ending of how this battle or confrontation will play out, we're going to potentially see it. And I personally don't want to see it as much. I think because we know the answer, we know what's going to happen, putting too much screen time towards it will bore some people. But you might have a different take on that.
I mean, I'm fine to see it. I think I'm curious how it plays out, because I like Adar, and I think he's kind of what he did was kind of cool. Like,
yeah,
he kills Sauron, and then he becomes like a Moses figure for the orcs.
Yeah,
leads them to a promised land. Does this all under the nose of the elves. I think he's a cool figure. And
yes.
Just seeing how does Sauron defeat Adar? How does he turn? You think the orcs would presumably be pissed off if Sauron kills their Messiah?
Right. Why would they join him after that?
Yeah. So how does he pull this off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, to your point, that him being a very likable character at the end, when he's being interrogated by Galadriel, he comes off as the good guy. So
yeah, he does.
Galadriel comes off as a villain, basically kind of quoting villains from like superhero films. And he comes off as, like you said, a Moses, a savior character for the orcs. Now, as human audience members, a lot of people just have an immediate negative reaction towards orcs, and I actually thought this was one of the better ideas coming from the writing team in terms of adding some level of morality and ethics towards the orcs that we didn't get to see previously. While they still are kind of vicious and scary to look at, they are still living creatures, and the question ultimately is, like Galadriel basically feels like it's her right and duty to exterminate them, which sounds incredibly villainous. And so, yeah, I agree towards the end. How does Sauron get the orcs back after they believe him to not only be dead, but they don't like him? He was treating them badly. They felt like they were slaves towards it, just a means towards his end goal. And Adar treats them like they are his equals almost. Like he treats them with respect, more respect than we've ever seen anyone treat orcs, even more so than orcs treat themselves. And so,
more respect than Harfoots treat other Harfoots.
Yeah, that's right. And so Adar comes across as, like you said, a very likable character at the end, and basically completely flips the script. And we're now kind of rooting for Adar. Unfortunately, I mean, if you're watching this show, spoilers, but we know the ending towards that. And so unfortunately, we know what's going to happen here. To me, the more interesting part that you pointed out is at the end. How does Sauron get the orcs back on his side? But the build up towards this conflict, like if they have a bunch of scenes where it's like trying to avoid conflict, I know that there's going to be conflict here. Like they cannot coexist. So I say just either like get to it right away, or don't show them for a few episodes and then boom, have like an episode dedicated to that or something like that.
I mean, I do feel like, I mean, we're going on a tangent a bit, but I feel like Halbrand is gonna bump into Isildur. Don't you think?
I do think there's got to be something there. There's a reason that they have Isildur separated from the rest of Numenor and the rest of the humans that were fighting alongside them. Clearly, he's on his own for a reason, and I think you're right. I think there's got to be something there. Which, again, this could either add to or subtract from your enjoyment.
Maybe Isildur will manipulate. I don't know. Halbrand Sauron will manipulate Isildur into helping him defeat Adar.
I see. I was thinking it would be more Isildur turning Sauron into an even more bigger villain. Because I really hate Isildur in this show. But you're right. Like, what else is, like, they've separated Isildur. We know Isildur's got to be a integral part of this now. He's on his own, and he's either going to be coming across orcs or Halbrand, and he recognizes and knows Halbrand. So there's that going for him when he sees him.
Or they could go in a completely different direction. Like, Numenor could return, help Sauron defeat Adar, and this is how Sauron gets the ear of Pharazôn and then ends up manipulating the Numenorians.
Yeah, and well, see, the part of the problem I have though is because the way they ended the episode 8, we don't know how much time has passed. So Halbrand, Galadriel confronts Halbrand. Halbrand reveals who he is, and then leaves, and then we cut to him like arriving in Mordor, and so at this point,
simply walking into Mordor.
Yeah, that's right. But at this point, has Galadriel had enough time to send word to Numenor that Halbrand is Sauron? Could Halbrand simply stroll, like you say, could he just simply stroll into the Numenor camp, say, I've returned, the elves have a mission for us, we're supposed to finish this fight and kill these orcs, or something like that. And then they ride in, they kill Adar, and then he regroups with the rest of the orcs and starts building his kingdom that way. Like, to me, there's enough time to get word down there to tell them that this is Sauron. So
I don't know if Pharazôn will care though. Pharazôn.
Oh, I see.
Might have the hubris to think that it doesn't matter that.
I see. Because now that, but then at that point, is Pharazôn actually being corrupted by Sauron, or is he already kind of a villain? And I mean,
I think he was kind of a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in this show, he's clearly overreaching his political position. Like he's clearly
he's supposed to marry Muriel.
Ah, yes.
And then become king.
Yeah, so it's gonna kind of be like a forced marriage, is my guess. So yeah, so I guess we'll move on. So Numenor, they have some growing pains to do now. So Numenor has returned. The army has returned home to their little island nation, and it's kind of changed. Pharazôn has basically taken over as like a pseudo emperor or king, and obviously he doesn't have a right currently to hold that position. Now, it's not clear who actually, like, we don't actually know the line of succession if it can go to a woman. It seems like it could. Like, it made it seem like she was next in line. Like, they call her queen.
Yeah.
Even though her father was still alive. So, like, they had some weird naming things going on. So, technically, I believe she is the ruling person. But whether or not she has the backers to help her with that is another question. I think that's ultimately where they go. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there, where we're going to kind of see a lot of political inner turmoil where Pharazôn basically forces her to marry him to keep her position, but then he just kind of usurps the power from her and rules as a king himself.
And you can see the what's the guy's name that was made the lieutenant, Isildur's friend?
Oh,
Valandil.
Yeah.
So Valandil's gonna come back, and then Antemo's fiance is gonna come up and ask where Antemo is, and Valandil's gonna be like, "Who's Antemo?"
Yeah. Oh, that guy that was following us around that we weren't really friends with. So I don't think it goes in that direction. I personally don't think they talk about it at all. But if they do talk about it, I think
he'll be sad about Isildur being gone, but then she's gonna be like, "What about Antemo?" And he's like, "Who cares about Antemo?"
No, I think he's actually. I think it's gonna be one of those weird things where like they get together.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those weird like, oh, I lost a friend, you lost a fiance, or were they married? I forget.
I don't think they're married.
No,
yet.
so you lost like a boyfriend or a fiance. I lost my friend. We'll be together to like share in that pain or something like that. I don't think they dedicate any time to that though, because who cares about Antemo?
I like Antemo.
I mean, I did too. The guy was one of these like sacrificial characters where everything he said, you knew he was gonna die. Like everything is like, I don't want to go to war. I just want to go home and be with my girlfriend and live happily ever after. Like you're dead, dude. You're gonna die in this battle now because you just said that. look at these crazy characters running around fighting people. None of them are saying what they're gonna do after this battle because they know as soon as you say that, you're done. I mean, heck, literally we have a character in a burning building when it collapses on him, and he's gonna live. Isildur's gonna come out, not a scratch on him, and be like, "Yep, what happened? What did I miss?" So
maybe you'll have something twisted like Halbrand, because we know we have a complexly evil character. Maybe Halbrand revives Isildur.
Oh, so this is what you're kind of getting into something where these are scenes that you're talking about where they either make or break the original trilogy. Like they either make it better or you cannot watch the same, like you can't watch both of these and have the same understanding. Galadriel is one of these characters right now where they're not the same character to me. Not yet. That's a scene like that. It either adds to those moments in the prologue of the original trilogy when Isildur is fighting Sauron. It can add to some.
You'll find out that Sauron had actually saved Isildur.
Yeah, so that can actually add to that scene, thus fulfilling this prequel, being a true part of the overall trilogy, and then I guess extended trilogy of movies. Or it could be bad and they could do it completely wrong and wreck it by just having a bunch of weird meme moments that like have him step on his sword as he picks it up and it breaks. Like, you know what I mean? Like just basically.
Do that too, yeah.
So I would actually like to see the two of them meet. I do think that the two of them would be good for the original trilogy, but I can see them also screwing it up as well. So I'm kind of hesitant. Like at this point, I'm hesitant for Sauron to do anything. He's already been set up as like kind of not a bad guy yet. Like he's not that bad yet. Yes, we've been told by Galadriel and by other characters that Sauron's super evil. He's done a bunch of bad stuff. We haven't really seen him do anything bad yet. So it's not like it's really hard right now to see him become a villain. Without like, what does he even have to lose to like turn him evil? Like what is that final straw that he flips and says, no, we need to wage war on human and elf kind?
It's because Galadriel rejected.
It's because he's an incel. Yeah, that is not what I want. Yeah, incel Sauron. No, that is like that's what I'm saying. It can't be that. There has to be more. I cannot watch 6 movies and 5 seasons of a show for some weirdo to
The villain the whole time. The villain was just an incel.
A complex Walter White incel. So yeah, we've kind of touched on Numenor, Halbrand. Obviously the elves and dwarves have stuff going on there. We can kind of talk about that a little bit. They seem to have solved their problem of needing enough mithril. Halbrand, Sauron, solved the problem for them. And so at this point, we now just kind of have a political drama brewing in the dwarven kingdoms, right? So we've got to figure out.
Oh yeah, because Durin's gonna have a brother show up.
Right, and Durin was forced to take off his. It's not quite a necklace. It's almost like a breastplate piece that he wears around his neck. Whatever it was some sort of symbol of his birthright of being the heir to the kingdom of the dwarves. And his father told him to take it off because he had betrayed his father by trying to get more mithril for the elves. So in a similar, in a parallel fashion, we have Numenor with their political intrigue, where a king is usurping power from the rightful queen. In the dwarves, we might have a brother potentially trying to usurp power from his older brother. So I think that's where we go with the dwarves. I'm not really sure how much the elves play in that. Are we gonna is Elrond gonna be an integral part of that as well? Is he gonna be able to help in any way with the dwarves? Because I don't know what Elrond does from this point forward.
Well, they're gonna have to make Elrond some sort of military guy at some point.
True. Eventually, he's got to pick up a sword. But is he doing that now? We're not at the battles yet, where the elves and men are marching against Mordor. I guess how long does he need to be in the field before we feel like he's...
How are the other rings gonna get made?
Well, that's the other question, because I was always under the impression that...
I straight up came up with the impression that Galadriel left until anyone Halbrand was Sauron. Now Halbrand's just gonna go back and work on that.
So I
Celebrimbor.
Yeah, and so my theory is a little bit more more nuanced in that Halbrand / Sauron simply shapeshifts into someone.
Anatar. Yeah. So he could still get Anatar, Lord of the Gifts.
Right. So he shapeshifts and is able to get in that way. All these theories about Galadriel, just every theory that comes out about Galadriel is negative. It makes her even worse, and she's already the worst character in this thing. And yeah. I'm not even talking about the acting or anything. None of what I say is about actors or actresses. This character's terrible, and I have no idea how you come around with Galadriel. At this point, she's done everything wrong. The entire season, she did not a single thing right, not a single one. And now eventually she's going to have to become this elegant, intelligent, elvish lady of the woods that is able to battle the necromancer and is able to kind of has this presence about her.
I should rewatch The Hobbit now that I've seen this. Because how does that feel, her battling the necromancer? Knowing that, the necromancer wants to bang her.
Well, okay. Oh, Jesus. No, we're supposed to be talking about season 2, not weird weird Hobbit stuff. But this is my point. This is my point about these things have impacts on the other works within this realm. And so when you look at that scene, if you accept the Rings of Power as being a prequel, does that do anything about that scene? And I think it does. there's still 5 or 4 seasons left to turn this around for her, but I don't even know what the heck she's doing at this point, because she could literally go anywhere. It doesn't, like, wherever she goes, she's just going to cause problems, it seems. Like, she could go to the dwarves and try to mess around there. She could go with the Harfoots, for all I care, and try to do something there. I think ultimately she goes back to try to lead the humans, and in doing so, potentially, maybe she's the one that kills Adar. Thus,
and we have to get Celeborn in this somehow too.
True. But see, so I think to your point, and to the point of the whole idea that brought this on, I think Galadriel killing Adar, despite ruining her character even more, is a natural progression from the conversation they had when he was being interrogated. And when she kills him, that opens the door for Sauron to come in to the orcs and basically say, I'm sorry Adar died, I'll treat you better, like, I'll be the new Adar, like, that kind of stuff. Like, basically, he doesn't have anything to do with the Adar's death, and Adar just dies at the hands of an elf, thus allowing him to use that hatred of elves in the orcs to build them back up. That's one way we can get...
So, like, have Galadriel make even more fatal errors.
Yes. I at this point, she's such a useful tool. I can literally have her bring Sauron to Numenor as another disguised person and have that guy corrupt Numenor for, like, it doesn't even matter at this. Like, you could just use her to constantly screw stuff up for people and then have some big turn at the end. Like, that seems to be where they're going with this, because she's been terrible the entire time. Like, when is she gonna have a turn towards the good side? When is she gonna start listening to other people and like treating people with respect and just like not being negative to everyone? Oh man.